It was the year 2005. The original 6 Warrior books were completed and released, but the series was far from over. The adventures of the 4 clans would be continued in the brand new Prophecy story arc. This time, Firestar is not the main character. However, the new main characters still needed to be familiar. So, Aaron Hunter decided to have Tiger Stars kits, Gray Stripes kits, and Firestars kits take center stage. This would become a major selling point of the new books. However, there was one problem. Firestar did not have kits. So, Squirrelpaw and Leafpaw were created. At the start, Leafpaw was okay. Thankfully, Squirrelpaw was something new. She was the feisty, strong, sarcastic, independent, sometimes confrontational cat the series needed. In the words of Cats of the Clans, Squirrelflight is fire. She has energy to scorch every tree in the forest, and a tongue that could leave scars in beech bark. She is incapable of doing anything but what she believes to be right. A lot of the female characters in Warriors are rather passive and dependent on others. Squirrelflight is a nice exception to that. It's nice to see a character so passionate. It just feels like Squirrelflight was designed specifically to be a fan favorite. Her design was similar to Firestar, but she's got that signature white paw and bushy tail that make her appealing to draw fan art of. And her green eyes go beautifully with her fur color. She's sarcastic and funny, she represents girl power, what's not to like? But enough about who Squirrelflight is. While Squirrelflight's traits are unique and interesting, it's the execution of these traits that make her character. When Squirrelpaw is first introduced, Brambleclaw refers to her as the biggest nuisance in ThunderClan. He is given the task of temporarily taking over her training. Brambleclaw suggests hunting by sunning rocks. Squirrelpaw correctly points out that because the weather is so hot, there will be no prey. Brambleclaw is heavily annoyed by the fact that an apprentice knew more than he did. Squirrelpaw makes fun of Brambleclaw for being wrong, then Sandstorm yells at both of them for arguing and separates them. So, Squirrelpaw is immediately made out to be an annoying know-it-all that never stops talking, which is actually a great device for Brambleclaw's development. It challenges his ability to maintain control of his emotions when he is provoked. Other warriors, such as Thornclaw and Dustpelt, are shown to have much better control over Squirrelpaw, and can scold or punish her when necessary. Brambleclaw could not do so without losing his cool. Going in to meet with the other cats chosen for the quest, the last thing Brambleclaw wanted was for Squirrelpaw to follow him and threaten him with this new secret she has. Which brings me to my first criticism of Squirrelpaw, the fact that she had to blackmail Brambleclaw to go on the quest. It makes her come off as annoying and sort of a jerk. Squirrelpaw was desperate to go on this quest. It would have been so much more satisfying if Squirrelpaw had to show she was desperate and beg to be included. I would have loved it if Brambleclaw included Squirrelpaw because he realized how much she wanted it. Instead, he just doesn't want his secret revealed. Anyways, Squirrelpaw does eventually force Brambleclaw to bring her on this journey. Now, Brambleclaw starts to feel that he needs to protect her. Of course, Squirrelpaw insists she can protect herself, being the independent cat she is. She receives a bit of hate from the fact that she was not chosen for the quest. But she has this logic loophole. She can go on the quest as an apprentice because Crowpaw is there, and she can go on the quest without being chosen because Stormfur is there. This logic becomes more annoying each time it is repeated. And it's flawed. You see, Squirrelpaw, the difference between you and those two is that Crowpaw and Stormfur are actually wanted. Over the course of the journey, Squirrelpaw shows herself to be endlessly brave to the point where she throws herself into danger against kitty pets, 2 legs, and rats. She even jumps into the water before the River Clan cats to save Brambleclaw from drowning. An act described as brave but stupid. So, Brambleclaw has learned not only that he underestimated Squirrelpaw's bravery and cleverness, he also learned that despite her age, Squirrelpaw is a strong, independent cat who does not need protection. Brambleclaw learns that just because another cat is young does not mean they can't be brave. He was being overprotective. The one cat he was desperate to protect ended up saving him. Brambleclaw completely underestimated the abilities of Squirrelpaw until she was given the chance to prove herself. Squirrelpaw ties very well into the moral of Midnight, simply being to never hold judgment on the abilities of others until they've had the chance to prove themselves. All of the journeying cats assume Squirrelpaw would hold them back for being inexperienced and not chosen for the quest. However, she greatly contributed to their success. Brambleclaw has learned so much. Squirrelpaw, however, is exactly where she started. She started the story thinking she was the best, and ended the story being the best. Squirrelpaw is described as brave but stupid, but we never see her bravery have any consequences, which bothers me. Let's say that Squirrelpaw threw herself into the rat fight to protect Brambleclaw, was bitten rather than Tawnypelt, and afterwards struggled to show bravery again. Maybe being reluctant to cross a thunder path? Due to the fact that she has seen the consequences of being brave. She starts to be more passive and dependent until she sees Brambleclaw drowning. She then saves Brambleclaw and realizes how brave and stupid she was. And, while there can be consequences to bravery, acting in spite of those consequences is what makes a true warrior. Brambleclaw would be very impressed. Also, it would make Leafpaw eating burdock root more meaningful if she was doing it to save her sister. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Leafpaw and Squirrelpaw share this special sister bond that connects their senses. It is never explained why they have this power, but every time they use it, screams plot convenience. The 6 traveling cats didn't know how to treat a rat bite. However, Leafpaw sensed that Squirrelpaw was in a rat attack and ate burdock root to send the message to her that it was the cure. Yay. Later, this sense is just used over and over, so the two have no reason to question whether the other is alive or not, which is disappointing because it makes their reunion less meaningful. The power is annoying and unnecessary, but it doesn't do too much damage to Squirrelpaw's development. The problem I have with Squirrelpaw is that she fails to show any flaws throughout the story, unless being annoying and desperately seeking importance count. We don't see Squirrelpaw show much vulnerability, and it makes it hard to sympathize with her as a result. The one moment she does show vulnerability by being trapped under a fence is very rewarding. If the book had put greater emphasis on how desperate she was to join the quest and how her brave actions could have consequences, I believe it would have made her character better. After Midnight, we don't really get much Squirrelpaw development for a while. She proved herself to be the perfect cat she is, so now she can just mindlessly do the right thing and be heroic. Through the rest of the journey, she doesn't have any personal struggles to overcome, besides wanting to be with her sister again. In Moonrise, Stormfur picks up this attraction to her, which is sort of frustrating. It just continues to drive forward this Squirrelpaw is amazing message, which is not really needed. We already know how brave, strong, and positive Squirrelpaw is. In Dawn, you would expect she would get some good development to her character, due to the fact that half the story is told from her perspective. But she just sort of saves her sister and persuades the clans to leave. There is no personal struggle that makes her character compelling or relatable to the reader. Just her wanting to be with her sister. Then, in Starlight, we get more of Squirrelflight being right. Right about where ThunderClan should set up camp, and right about Hawkfrost. Also, Ashfur loves her now, which sort of came out of nowhere. I mean, he was happy when Squirrelpaw returned to ThunderClan, I guess. Also, Squirrelpaw did comfort Ashfur when he was upset about Hawkfrost being Tigerstar's son. I guess he's a major character now? At the start, she was sort of sad that Ashfur was trying to pull her away from Brambleclaw, but a few Hawkfrost arguments later, she is happy to hop aboard the Ashfur train. So, let me get this straight. Squirrelflight started her relationship with Ashfur by saying that Hawkfrost wouldn't be dangerous, and ended her relationship with Brambleclaw by saying he would be. Okay. And now Ashfur is always by Squirrelflight's side. Okay. In Twilight, despite hanging out with Ashfur, Squirrelflight is still waiting for Brambleclaw to stop liking Hawkfrost so they can be friends again. Squirrelflight is shocked by the love between Leafpool and Crowfeather. and then realizes that she does not love Ashfur that much, but might love Brambleclaw that much. It makes sense that she loves Brambleclaw more. I mean, she went on a journey with Brambleclaw, she just sort of received Ashfur's affection, and as it turns out, she made the right choice. Because in Sunset, Ashfur reveals that he is in fact a jerk, and even accuses Leafpool of lying. Brambleclaw becomes deputy, Hawkfrost dies, story ends. So, Squirrelflight's personal struggles during the New Prophecy can be compiled into a list of 3. Proving she is important and strong to Brambleclaw, missing her sister and trying to meet up with her again, and realizing that she did love Brambleclaw. Her biggest mistake was choosing to love Ashfur, which is completely okay from a character development perspective. The fact that she went back to Brambleclaw drives this "one argument does not change who you love" message, in which, just because Squirrelflight disagreed with Brambleclaw about Hawkfrost, it didn't mean that she loved him any less. Squirrelflight spends time with Ashfur as a way of trying to convince herself that she did not need Brambleclaw. However, she eventually realizes she does, and gets off the Ashfur train. And as it turns out, Ashfur was a jerk, so Squirrelflight was right to leave him behind when she did. Although, it does sort of bother me that Squirrelflight was right about Hawkfrost being evil. The original series throws this "you cannot judge someone based on the actions of their parents" message with Brambleclaw. But then Hawkfrost comes around, and the books say, well, sometimes you can. I guess that's more of a criticism to Hawkfrost's character. So, what do I think about Squirrelflight's character during the New Prophecy series? Well, she's fine. I enjoy her relationship with Brambleclaw, what she teaches him, and what Brambleclaw learns from having to deal with her. It's easily one of the best and most believable relationships in the series. I also like that Squirrelflight can be sarcastic and a source of humor at times. I like that she has to prove herself to the other journeying cats. I mean, at the start, she was really getting a lot of hate from the fact that she was not chosen, but without her, they would never have completed the quest. What I don't like about Squirrelflight is that she sort of comes off as perfect at times, never really receiving consequences for her brave but stupid actions. Even when she's not the main character, Stormfur has to go on and on about how amazing she is. Also, both Ashfur and Brambleclaw loved her as well. Why do all these cats love her? Does she have this level of attractiveness I'm not seeing? But this doesn't ruin her character. Overall, I can get past this and say that Squirrelflight is an interesting and enjoyable cat. I would say she's more enjoyable than Leafpool, but not quite as great as Brambleclaw. So, where does Squirrelflight's character go from here? Well, she becomes the mother of the series. She still has this does whatever she believes is right mindset. She is still brave, she just is no longer the focus. We see her in this new caring role, and she becomes more respectable and mature. I would go into further detail, but her character is used so differently going forward, it would probably need its own video. So, maybe I'll make a part 2 at one point. Or, maybe you would like to hear me talk about a different character. Let me know in the comments.